and some upper cabinets. The first thing we did is we got these brought in. These are some nice base cabinets. They're standard width for the counters. They typically are right around 30 inches. So you got that. This is 26 inches wide. Then we'll put a counter on top of that. And the first thing we did is we spent some time making sure this was level, didn't we, John?
Yeah, we shimmed up the floor, shimmed the cabinets up to level to plumb.
And got it all straightened out. And thanks for joining us today, John. John's a craftsman with Handyman Matters. And then the next thing we started to do is when we set these in place, we wanted to kind of start to hook the face frames together. So there's a little bit of a process there. And when you do this, what it does is it tightens up this gap here and makes them look real clean and professional.
Right.
So show us a couple steps here, John. First thing we want to do is, this wood is very fragile, brittle, thin. So the one thing you want to do is pre-drill these holes so that when you run this screw through there, it doesn't do anything to or crack the wood. So right,
you want to make sure your face is flush here, and then you want to go ahead and drill through. Watch your fingers, Andy.
Okay,
drill that all the way through.
And then how do you hide the tip of that screw? Because if you don't, it'll kind of stick out and be in the way, won't it, John?
Got a thing called a countersink. You put that over the hole, screw that in. Once your screw's in place, it'll be flush with the wood.
Great. Let's put a screw in there and show everybody how that pulls that together. Because that's what really makes the job look great and professional at the end, is that these joints are all tight and ready to go. There we go. Wait, let me get it straight. There we go. Okay. And then we've got this one up here to pull together. It's the same process. And then that'll come together. It's a tough one. It's always the ones that are in an angle that are tough to get. So the squarer you get your screwdriver, the better. Great. I pulled that together real nice. Now as we move up, it's interesting. You think that these base cabinets and these upper cabinets are connected all sorts of crazy ways so that they stay in place. But all we do is we simply have to find the framing of the house where the framing is. And typically that sits 16 inches on center, wouldn't you say?
That's correct.
Great. So the first thing we did is, when you look at a tape measure, we've got some graduated marks here for all the 16-inch marks. So you can easily find those, and then you can find where the framing of the house is. And then once you find the framing of the house, then you can set this screw. This is one example of a screw that will hold this base cabinet in place. John, just go ahead and set that in nice.
Okay.
And we got that one in. And that's, boy, just a few more of those as we go down the cabinet, the 48-inch cabinet. That'll hold this whole thing in place, which is great. When we set this up, or one thing we did, one little rule we want to do is you always take the doors off because they're flapping around and just makes it miserable, doesn't it, John?
That's right. Gets in your way.
Great. So what we've done is we went ahead and did this. We had two people here. If you're alone, you can set a ledger board and just screw it in a couple places and then tip it into place and then screw it in if you're alone. But we had two people here, so we were able to lift this into place and go ahead and put a screw up here, which goes right into the framing of the home. And then we're going to also put a screw right up through the framing of this right here, aren't we, John?
That's correct.
And then we'll have one that supports it up and down and one that supports it side to side. Then, of course, we'll finish off this face plate again with the same process we used below. And then that will tighten this all up, make it real nice. So I hope that helps everybody set your base cabinets and upper cabinets. It's not that much hanging it all together, is there?
Not at all.